Be honest with yourself for a second. When was the last time you actually looked before you flushed? Most people never do. And yet, what's in the toilet is one of the most honest health updates your body will ever give you. It's free, it shows up every single day, and almost everyone ignores it. Here's the thing, most of what you see down there is completely normal, but a few specific signs are not, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly which is which. So why does any of this matter? Because your stool is basically a daily report card for your digestive system. By the time food makes its way through you, it's passed through your stomach, your small intestine, your large intestine, and everything that happens along the way leaves a mark. What ends up in the toilet reflects your hydration, your diet, the bacteria living in your gut, and the overall health of the tract it just traveled through. Now here's the part that should take the pressure off. Your stool changing from day to day is completely normal. Color shifts, texture shifts, timing shifts, that's expected. The goal here is not to obsess over every trip to the bathroom. It's simply to recognize a small handful of patterns that actually mean something. Before we talk about warning signs, you need a baseline, because you can't spot what's wrong if you don't know what's right. Let's start with color. Healthy stool is some shade of brown. That brown comes from bile, a fluid your body makes to digest fat, mixed with the leftovers of digestion. The exact shade can drift lighter or darker depending on what you ate, and that's perfectly fine. Now shape. The ideal is something like a smooth, soft sausage, maybe with a few cracks on the surface. It should pass without a struggle and without falling apart into mush. That texture tells you your hydration and fiber are roughly where they should be. Then there's frequency, and this is where people worry the most. The truth is, normal covers a surprisingly wide range, anywhere from about 3 times a day to 3 times a week. If you're regular on your own schedule, that schedule is fine. There's no magic number. And remember, your diet moves all of this around constantly. Leafy greens can turn things green. Beets can turn things reddish. Iron supplements can darken everything. Food dye does its own thing. So a single odd-looking day with an obvious explanation is almost never something to worry about. Okay, this is what you came for, the signs that genuinely deserve your attention. As we go through these, keep one rule in mind. It's persistence and change from your own normal that matters, not a single strange day. The first one, and the most important, is blood. And there are 2 very different kinds. Bright red blood usually means the source is lower down, closer to the exit. It's often something minor, like a small tear or irritation, but it can also point to something that needs a closer look, so it shouldn't be brushed off. The second kind is more urgent. If your stool looks black and sticky, almost tarry like fresh asphalt, that can mean blood from higher up in the digestive tract, where it's had time to darken on the way down. Black tarry stool is the single clearest sign on this list that you should not ignore. Now, one fair warning, iron supplements and certain medications can also darken stool, so can foods like black licorice or blueberries. The difference is the texture and the pattern. A one-time dark stool after an obvious cause is different from black, tarry stool showing up again and again. The next sign is a lasting change in color that food can't explain. Pale, clay-colored stool stands out here. Remember bile, the fluid that gives stool its brown color? When stool turns pale and stays that way, it can mean bile isn't reaching it like it should, and that's worth checking. Third, a change in the shape itself. Specifically, stool that becomes pencil thin and stays that way. An occasional narrow stool means nothing, but a lasting change in caliber, your stool consistently thinner than it used to be, is the kind of change worth mentioning to a professional. Fourth, diarrhea or constipation that just won't quit. A few days of either is part of life, but when diarrhea or constipation drags on for weeks, that's no longer a passing thing. Persistent is the key word. Days, normal, weeks, pay attention. Speaking of paying attention, if your digestion has been sluggish for weeks and you constantly feel bloated, there is a bizarre, 8,000-year-old trick you need to know about. By adding just one pinch of a specific underwater gut superfood to your daily routine, you can quickly soothe your gut and empty your bowels twice as fast. It works incredibly well to flush out up to 10 pounds of toxic poop that can build up and clog your intestines, and it defies all common sense because it works even if you eat zero fiber. To see exactly how to use this one-pinch trick today, simply point your phone's camera at the QR code right here on the screen, or tap the link I've pinned at the very top of the comments section below. Now, getting back to your stool, the fifth sign to look out for is mucus. A small amount of mucus can be completely normal, but noticeable mucus showing up regularly, especially alongside other symptoms like pain, blood, or changes in your bathroom habits, is worth bringing up. Notice the pattern running through all 5 of these. None of them are about one weird day. They're about something new, something that lasts, something that's different from your own baseline. A single odd stool is a story about what you ate yesterday. A change that sticks around for weeks is a story about your body, and that's the story worth listening to. Now let's swing the other way, because it would be easy to walk away from this nervous about every little thing, and that's not the goal. Plenty of things look alarming and are almost always fine. Green stool is a classic one. It usually just means food moved through you a little faster than usual, or you ate something green or heavily dyed. On its own, it's nothing. Floating stool surprises people too. Most of the time, it simply comes down to gas or what you've recently eaten. By itself, it's not a red flag. The same goes for color shifts you can trace straight back to your plate: the beets, the berries, the food coloring. If there's an obvious explanation sitting in your fridge, that's usually your answer. And a single off day, one round of loose stool, one constipated morning, things feeling weird after travel, or a big diet change, that's just being human. Context is everything. One strange day, with a reason behind it, is almost never the story. So how do you actually put this to use? It's simpler than you'd think. First, know your own baseline. You don't need a journal or an app. Just have a rough sense of what's normal for you, your usual color, your usual rhythm. That's what lets you notice when something genuinely changes. Second, pay attention to how long a change lasts. One day is noise. 2 or 3 weeks is a signal. Time is the thing that separates the two. And third, notice what comes with it. A change paired with belly pain, unexplained weight loss, or constant fatigue carries more weight than the same change on its own. If a warning sign is persistent, or it's showing up alongside other symptoms, that's your cue to talk to a healthcare professional. Not someday, soon. Checking early isn't dramatic, it's just smart, and it's completely routine. So here's where we started. Your body hands you a small, honest health update every single day, and most people flush it without a second look. You don't have to obsess over it, you just have to glance and know what you're looking at. It costs you nothing, it takes 2 seconds, and every once in a while, it really matters.